Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
Welcome back into the Outlaw Lawyers. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm managing partners, are your hosts. They are practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. They have offices in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, Gastonia, and now in Morehead City. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. If you are facing a legal situation, if you have a question, you can always call Whitaker and Hamer. It's 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what that call's about, and an attorney will be in touch from Whitaker and Hamer. And you can always email your question to the program, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. All right, what is a special master? Josh, take it away.
So, Morgan, we haven't here on the Outlaw Lawyer. We, as we mentioned earlier in our opening segment, we don't like to politicize anything we talk about. You know, the lawmaking process, the legal process, the court process needs to be unbiased, right? Anytime politics filters their way into the legal system, it's not good. And so when we discuss items on this show, we know that they're politically charged. We know that, if you're a far left Democrat or a far right Republican, you may interpret the results, the Supreme Court decision. The abortion, the Dobbs case is a good example. We've talked about that a lot on the show. That's obviously got political implications. But we took a look at the law and what the justices were saying and what they were relying on it, comparing it to prior decisions. That's kind of the purpose of this show. And so I hadn't really wanted to talk about this on the show, but I figured we'd bring it up because it's just so heavily featured in the news. But, former President Donald Trump, his residence, or one of his residence, his main residence, was the FBI got a warrant, of course, alleging that he had privileged information that he was holding there, and so they got a warrant. They searched for what they were supposed to search for, took stuff out of the home, and it's kind of unprecedented in a lot of ways, right? The FBI, to my knowledge, hasn't really done that to a former president. And so obviously this became a big story, and depending on your political leanings, you probably have a different interpretation of what's going on. So far legally, besides being unprecedented, the legal part of it makes sense, right? It's not really the feds got a warrant, just like they would for me or you or Morgan, and they went and they carried out their search. So the search itself is not fascinating for an attorney. I don't think it's fascinating that it's never happened to a president before. And it's fascinating on how it's being reported and how it's being received. But I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that on the show. What actually got me to finally want to talk about it is because I kept hearing the term special master, right? And it was driving me crazy. Joe, have you been following this? Have you seen this special master language?
Yeah, you said a lot of words, man, and they were beautiful words. But I think to sum up your point, we here at the Outlaw Lawyer, it's not about the politics for us, man. And like you said, this is it's very interesting from a political perspective, but we don't care about that, man. I don't care about the politics. I mean, I'm not on either side. I'm for the people. The people
right.
who listen to this show, that's our side. We're super neutral. We're not gonna go either way. So, like you, man, I ignore in my personal life just to be a better embodiment of the ideals of this show. I ignore all things political, Josh. So I was ignoring this story, but like you said, we love our interesting phrases and words and terms. And yes, like you, the special master, it caught my eye, and very, very intrigued. So I'm very excited. I know you've done extensive research on what a special master actually is, and I greatly look forward to this deep dive on the terminology.
Well, it's going to be short and sweet, Joseph.
It's a shallow dive. Don't dive into a shallow pool.
it's the kids pool dive here, but I like to collect old history books. I like old legal books. There's probably a lot of attorneys, a lot of lawyers out there who do the same thing, but I like old books. So I have a Black's Legal Dictionary. You know, if you're a lawyer, one of the first books you get in law school is your Black's Legal Dictionary. It just has different terms defined. It's kind of a starting point. You know, if you hear a term that you're not super familiar with, and I have a 1951 copy of that dictionary, and that's what I like to go to. It's it was a good year.
Good year for dictionaries.
But to sum up its definition, it does it in one sentence. It goes, a special master is appointed by a court to carry out some sort of action on its behalf. Right. So that's the definition. It goes into more detail. But a special master's function is essentially investigative, compiling evidence or documents to inform some future action by the court. But basically the court can appoint, sometimes they will call them an arbitrator, a special master, but it's someone the court is appointing to do something that's not going to be done in open court, right? So for here, former President Trump wants a special master appointed to go through all the documents that the feds, the FBI sees to see which ones are privileged, which ones they don't have a right to review, and so forth. And of course, on the other side, the feds the FBI is very concerned because there's some national secrets of varying degrees alleged to be in this material. And this special master is going to peruse all these. And so, of course, you got things on both sides here that are important. But as of today, I think the last thing I saw was that the judge had agreed to appoint a special master to do this, to make sure former President Trump's rights are not trampled on or what have you. But the judge that made the decision is one that Trump appointed, right? So we're running into all kinds of like conflict on a grand scale here. And if anything in this order gets appealed, it goes to a court where I think I might have these numbers wrong, but Trump appointed 6 of 11 judges, you know, that would normally maybe be given this case if it were appealed. So just tons of conflict, tons of first, right? It's the first time this has kind of happened. And, but anyway, a special master is just basically someone the court appoints to investigate something, review something, for the court and to report back to the court. Because obviously none of this is going to happen in like an open court. There has to be some it has to be taken very seriously and very secretively. But that is what a special master is.
Man, that was riveting. I think you did a great job of laying that out. I want to come back and hit you with some follow-up or some elaboration, but man, I feel like you covered that topic so well.
When I started looking at this, I didn't think it was going to be that simple, because I just was not familiar with that term. It's not something I run into a lot in my day-to-day practice. And, I thought special master. Can you think of I was trying to think of another title in the legal system that's as, it sounds like a G.I. Joe guy or like, some special, military type designation.
It sounds a lot like a term that's out of favor, and that I would think like with today's society, like we're going to de-emphasize the use of that term just because of the potential connotation,
What do you replace it with though? What do you replace something of the magnitude of special master with?
Oh man, and inspector. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not a word guy. I'm not the word police, man. I can't do that. Leave that for the specialists.
We got to appoint a special master to.
Yeah, we got to get. Yeah, we're gonna do a special master to figure out what we're gonna call the special masters going forward.
Well, Morgan, now everyone knows what a special master is. So I think we've done our service for today.
The question: what is a special master? Now you know. The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, your hosts of the program. They are the managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Offices conveniently located in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, and Gastonia, and now Morehead City. And a reminder, both Josh and Joe, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. Each and every week, we get into the legalese, the topics. You're going to have questions. Maybe you're facing a legal situation of your own, and you need some answers. I have a phone number for you to get in touch with Whitaker and Hamer. It's 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what your call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch with you. You can also email your question to the program, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. That's questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. We'll answer those questions on a future program. We've got more in store for you on The Outlaw Lawyer. We have a listener question when we come up on the other side. This is The Outlaw Lawyers.